Hello you guys and welcome back to another video. My name is Shayna Cossette and today we're going birding in winter conditions for the first time. I live way up north in the northern part of Saskatchewan, Canada, and it is full force winter already and has been for almost a week or so. So today we're going to be birding in this winter wonderland and see what birds we can find during a Canadian winter. So before I get all bundled up and heading outside into the colder weather, I like to start all of my winter birding sessions from inside, where it's nice and warm and comfortable. So I have a couple different feeder setups and I have my binoculars, and I'm just going to quickly take a look at what's already hanging out in the backyard before going outside. The most common visitor by far is the black-capped chickadee. This is going to be overexposed, but a magpie just also showed up to my feeder, which is not a very typical feeder bird. So I will see if I can get it on camera. Now it's time to trade my ball cap for a toque, and it's time to head outside. Also, for any non-Canadians, a toque is what we call a beanie up here in Canada. I'm switching over to my cell phone to film just because it's a little bit easier when outside and I don't have to switch my big zoom lens. But remember, anytime you get snow, remember to come out and uncover, because the birds have a hard time digging through all that thick snow, and just uncovering the seed for them helps make sure they can access it. Well, that's pretty much it for yard birds today. We have 3 black-capped chickadees and a black-billed magpie, I believe is the actual full species name, but most people in Saskatchewan just call them magpies. Sometimes we will get pine grosbeaks in the yard. They haven't quite made it into town yet. We also see quite a few ravens. So those are pretty staple winter birds, and then I'll see if it shows up later tonight. But we also have a pair of hairy woodpeckers that frequently come to our suet cages. So now I'm just gonna walk through some of the streets in town, do some birding, maybe see if I can't find some of the boreal chickadees that I know hang around, and I'm gonna make my way down to the river in front of town where there is still a little bit of open water and see if there's anything hanging out there. One of the reasons I picked today to do this video is because we just got a fresh coat of snow last night, and this can actually really help with your birding, because when you're out and about, you can find all sorts of fresh tracks. Now these appear to be grouse tracks, and we do have spruce grouse, the occasional rough grouse, very rarely a sharp-tailed grouse, but they do live in the forest up here, and also willow ptarmigan. I haven't seen any willow ptarmigan in this particular spot, but I do know my husband just saw some yesterday, so they have made their way south to us. We are actually their southern part of their range. They come here in winter and then travel back north to the Arctic, so maybe we will see some of them as well. Remember how I said to look for fresh tracks? This is why. So this is a male spruce grouse, and it's maybe 6 yards from me right now, which is why I'm talking a little quietly. It's even hard to focus this close with my zoom lens. I'm gonna see if I can zoom in and show you guys. So it's right there. This is fully zoomed out. So I really did mean it when like I'm not even 10 yards from the spruce grouse. This is a male spruce grouse. You can tell because it's got a lot darker plumage as it's starting to walk away from me now. But I think we're just gonna slowly move on. We got a couple pictures and let this grouse enjoy its day. Okay, well that could not have worked out any better than if I had planned that myself. I didn't. The funny thing is we're still within town limits. That's one of the perks of living so remotely, is that we have so much habitat all around us, and there's still a lot of existing habitat within town limits that you don't have to go very far to see some really, really cool birds. So I haven't had a spruce grouse within the fence perimeter of my yard, but I do almost consider them yard birds just because of how close into town they actually get. So we've arrived at the water. I'm gonna do a quick scan. I'm really not expecting to see much of anything at this point. Even the mergansers and loons have started migrating south. But it's always a good idea to check because you never know what you're gonna see. There is still the occasional eagle hanging around, and 2 weeks ago, I think it was now, I did get my lifer golden eagle. It was flying above the river here, being mobbed by some ravens. So I'm going to put this camera away and bring out my big camera and see what we see. Well, no luck down by the water. I'm not surprised. I did hear a black-capped chickadee calling in the bushes here, but I did not get it on camera. So we are going to make our way back the opposite way through town and see if we can't find anything else. I'm a little bit surprised we haven't seen redpolls yet because we do get them in town quite frequently and also around town, but they might be sticking to more of the open areas, and typically along roadways we find them as well. So if you guys missed it, redpolls used to be split even as early as last year into common redpolls and hoary redpolls, as well as a European species of redpoll, but they, due to recent taxonomy changes, which included some genetic testing, they are now all the same species and just called redpolls. So if you're just thinking common or hoary and you hear me refer to redpolls, it's because they're now considered the same species. That's also one of the reasons why in my last video I thought my lifer count was at 166, but it's actually at 164. I don't know if that call is going to show up in the video, but that was the call of a hairy woodpecker. It was flying towards my house. So let's see if we manage to see it today. Well, I just stopped back at the house to let the dog have a play outside since he's full of energy. But I think I actually hear some boreal chickadees calling back behind my fence. So let's go see if we can find any. And I was gonna pull out Merlin Sound ID because I heard a bird that I didn't know exactly what it was. It might be a grosbeak. And then a plane started taking off, so I can't use Merlin Sound because there's too much background noise. So, mystery bird. Well, we are back at home, and unfortunately we did not see any other birds on our adventures. So now it's time to get supper in the oven. It's about 4:30 p.m. here, and we only have about a half an hour of light left. So I'm gonna end the video here. We did not see boreal chickadees, and we did not see the willow ptarmigan, so you're gonna have to stay tuned for future videos to see if we can finally track those down this winter. With that, I hope you guys all have a great day and happy birding.